Hey, what's up, YouTube? We'd like to introduce ourselves to you. I'm Travis,
I'm Stacy.
and we are the Ops Couple. We are a retired military family who is recently empty nested, almost empty nested, and we're getting ready to see America in our RV. Um, we're high school sweethearts. We met in the 80s.
In the 80s?
In the 80s,
no,
right?
We met in 1990.
1990, and we met in high school, and our high school was in Germany. Both our fathers were in the Army, and they were stationed overseas. We were dependents at the time, and we graduated high school in Germany
1992.
in 1992, right? And I joined the Army at that point, and Stacy went to college.
Yep.
And we came back to the States. So like I said, we graduated in 92, and by that time I had already enlisted in the Army. I was on delayed entry. I joined while I was in Germany, and I shipped back to the States to go to basic and AIT, airborne school, and all that stuff. Went to RIP, and I ended up in the 3rd Ranger Battalion at Fort Benning, Georgia. And Stacy went to school.
So I was at Auburn University in Auburn, Alabama, and if you're familiar with that area, you'll know that they're only about 45-ish minutes apart
From each other, right?
So we still
And if
got
you're-
to see each other here and there.
Lots of the guys from 375 spent a lot of time at Auburn, right? So needless to say, we maintained our relationship, and then eventually we got married in 1993, the following summer.
Yes.
And started our life together
In Fort Benning.
in Fort Benning.
Yeah.
Right.
We didn't wait too long before we decided to have our first baby, I guess.
Right.
Emily was born in January of 1995.
Right. Kid number one.
Kid number one.
And we were at Fort Benning until 96, when I made the transition to Special Forces at that point, and I left Fort Benning and went to Fort Bragg to go to a Special Forces qualification course.
We ended up PCSing from Fort Bragg a year later in early 1997 and headed to Fort Lewis to 1st Special Forces Group. While we were there, we had baby number 2,
Right.
Liam.
Kid number 2, the boy.
The boy.
And ended up leaving pretty quick after that.
Yeah, we only were there a couple years.
Yeah.
And then we got to go to Okinawa, which
Right.
was amazing.
Super awesome. We liked it a lot, and we stayed there for a long time.
We were there 4 years.
Almost 5.
No.
Almost 5.
It was 4.
Yeah. It was almost 5.
And we had baby number 3
Yeah.
there.
And our 3rd child was born in Japan, in Okinawa, Japan, and that's Morgan. And she's still with us.
Yes.
She's about to punch out and go to school herself.
She's going to
But,
graduate this year. She
yeah.
just turned 18, so almost done.
Yeah, almost done. Almost done. At least growing them to adulthood. So
Yeah.
we did that, right? So we stayed in Okinawa. While we were in Okinawa, we got there in 1999. So yeah, September 11th, everybody's life changed kind of, and we had a new focus, refocused our attention to the task at hand, and kind of from that point forward, I spent a lot of time away from home. Ended up punching out to, I was in 1st Group, so we went to the Philippines right away, and stayed there for quite a while, and then ended up PCSing to Fort Bragg in 2003, where I was an instructor in the qualification course for 3 years, and I spent the majority of that time in Pineland, so I didn't really get much home time during that. It was kind of a surprise, but ended up while we were at Fort Bragg, we kind of laid some roots down, and we bought a house, started a business, and kind of established ourselves as kind of residents of Fayetteville, North Carolina. The kids they were not babies anymore, they were growing up, so they were getting their friends and stuff like that. So when it was time for me to go back to a TONE unit, or an actual unit, I elected to stay at Fort Bragg, and I went to 3rd Group, and I finished out my career in 3rd Group. In 2006, I went back, and then from 2006 until the time I retired, kind of stayed deployed most of the time.
Yeah, summer, like midsummer to almost Christmas,
Yeah.
almost every year.
And did that until 2014, and I went to SWIC very briefly, kind of to retire out of just to kind of get time to retire. And I retired in September,
August
of-
1st.
August
2014.
1st of 2014, after 22 years in service. And Stacy retired too, right?
No. No.
Yeah. All right. So what's the plan now? So the plan for us is to we're going to take advantage of this RV life, and we're going to explore the Carolinas. That's our first priority. Is we've lived in North Carolina for a long time, and I've been gone a lot of that time. So I want to see what the state has to offer. It's pretty cool. Been to a few places already, obviously, but I want to see it from stem to stern, you know. And we still have a daughter in high school. You know, Momo is in her senior year, so we still are kind of
Tethered to our house.
tethered to our house and our local community. And she's finishing up school, and she's also basically a full-time volleyball player. She plays travel volleyball, so there are volleyball tournaments
All the time.
all the time in the southeast region. Actually, we go up north a little bit to been up to DC
Yeah,
and
sometimes.
things like that. So we'll go to those volleyball tournaments and watch Mo play volleyball and
Hopefully get a scholarship to play in college.
live the RV life. You know, I also participate in shooting competition in the southeast. So we'll travel to those events and explore the areas around those events with the RV.
Most of our trips right now will just be short, probably weekend or a few extra days as we get going, and then eventually post graduation into college, renting our house out.
Yeah, we would
and
like to
being full-time.
basically pack the house, obviously downsize everything as much as possible, and then whatever we can't separate ourselves from, we can put in a storage unit. And
Which we're pretty good at separating stuff.
and yeah, I'm like not really
Not this one.
like tied to anything materialistic, like so.
Not true.
Except cars, like I have cars, like I like them a lot, motorcycles. But
This is the neatest pack rat.
yeah, yeah, and then we're gonna go and take the big trip, right? The big trip we have no plan for. We do not know what the big trip will be. No, it'll be big. That's about it. And but we do have a plan for the Carolinas, so stay tuned for that for sure. We have a plan to tackle this state from top to bottom, North and South Carolina both, and that's going to be coming up this year.
And learn again to enjoy our time as a couple
Right.
outside
Yeah,
of being
it's,
parents.
A big change for us to be alone, right? So we've had kids for a long time, and you know they're always with you, and it's a big change to go empty nest, and we're trying to look forward to it as much as we can.
Yes.
So we're trying to stay positive. Think positive, dude. Think positive. So we're gonna take advantage of that, and while we're still spry.
Yes. We're still young.
Yeah,
Young enough to have a good time.
indeed.
So, if you are so inclined, subscribe to our channel.
Yep.
Click the notification bell. What else? Is there another one?
I'm sure there is. We don't know what they are
You know,
yet.
do all the YouTube
We're
things.
still new, man.
So,
See the
join
stem?
us as we tour America.
Indeed. Stay tuned.